right. Check. I got me a double from Tim Hortons. Good old Canadian coffee for a good old little Canadian boy. I'm ready to talk about some Batman. I'm ready to talk about Gotham Knights. We got a splash, a tidbit, as they say. Not a Timbit. The Timbits are from Tim Hortons. Tidbit of news coming out from WB Montreal for Gotham Knights, coming out for 2021. Let's talk about all the news. Let's talk about everything about Batman. Love Batman. Can't get enough. Let's do this episode right now. Happy weekend, everybody. Good to see you. Matt here. Welcome to Assemble. It's a great day on the internet. I mean, it's not if you live in the United States. For a lot of us, that's troubling. But I'm happy you're here with us. I want to talk about some gaming. I haven't talked about any gaming news, guys, since Christmas. So I'm happy to be back. We've got all of our wrestling content that we've been doing as well for our recaps for Raw and SmackDown. So if you're a nerdy wrestling fan like me, go check that stuff out. But for the gaming front, kept it low key. Enjoyed the holidays. Hope you guys had a good break. I'm glad we're back. We're going to be talking about some gaming news. Today, I want to talk about Batman. Well, not Batman, but I want to talk about Gotham Knights, the new game coming out from WB Montreal, the guys that made Batman Origins, which is sometimes a controversy by some of us. Some of us feel that Batman Origins Arkham Origins is not a great game. I beg to differ. I think Arkham Origins is a phenomenal game. I think it's about an 8 out of 10. You can scold me. I don't care. That's a lot of sugar. I'm usually I have my coffee black. And today I was I had the kids. I got a whole thing going on today. We took down all the Christmas stuff. Yeah, we're late. I'm busy. But anyways, I needed to pick me up and I wanted to be able to get this episode in with you guys. That's a lot of sugar in your system. Kind of feel it on your teeth. Batman, yeah. Batman's not in that game. But what I want to talk to you guys about is just the interview that WB had, and they give a little bit of a tidbit, a little splash of news for us. So here we go. So Gotham Knights is slated to come out sometime in 2021. We don't have a definitive date yet. I kind of hope, guys, that honestly this is a summer release. More than likely, I don't know, I would probably guess an October release, but I think summertime would be pretty nice as long as it's not overlapping with too many other games. This is one that I'm really looking forward to because of the fact that it is taking a little bit of a twist on the Arkham series, obviously, and we're spinning off into talking more about the Gotham family and the Gotham Knights specifically. We got Red Hood, we've got Nightwing, Robin, and Batgirl as well. WB did an interview and it goes like this, just talking about some of the changes, and this is what stuck out to me about doing this episode for you guys. So they write that, quote, "We have entirely redesigned the combat system in order for it to work well in co-ops." Says Fleur Marty. He's the executive producer of Gotham Knights. Of course, this continues the quote, but of course, we're still a brawler, and some of the mechanics won't feel totally alien for people who played and enjoy the Arkham series, but it is in many ways very different. When they go off to talk about the actual story and going into the development of the game, they continue on by saying, "It's been a dream for the studio to be given the freedom to leave its mark on Gotham. This is a universe many of us on the team have been invested in since we were old enough to read. The real test of what was actually started working on with DC and began talking about what we wanted, the character and the storylines and our specific interpretations. They encouraged us to double down on our unique take. We get the unique take depicts a Gotham 15 years into Bruce Wayne's tenure as its protector. And the rogues gallery is already well established. Low-level criminals fear Batman's presence, his intervention anticipated the underworld's rising forces, and loathing by large swaths of the Gotham City Police Department." There's more quotes in the article. I'm looking at the Gamesradar article covering Gotham Knights. One of the quotes from Fleur Marty is going to talk about just how, quote, "The game allows you to switch to a different character pretty much at any time you want, as long as you go back to the Belfry to do so." What I think is going to be interesting, guys, is how they pull this off. I've been craving to get more information about Gotham Knights for quite a while. And this is kind of what I anticipated the game to do, was to have 4 characters for me to be able to just fairly quickly jump in and out of, depending on the mission and what's going on. I imagine that we are going to get somewhat of an open world and open concept when it comes to this game because of how dynamic each DC character is within the Gotham universe and the Batman universe, of how they will need to, be able to highlight some of the traversal and get out of just close quarter combat to be able to allow them to expand a little bit more. And we've had years of the Rocksteady games, as well as WB Montreal has had a lot of time since Arkham Origins to really think this through of how they want these characters to look and feel. Especially the combat in the Batman games, as you guys know as well as I do, it is stellar in itself. Like, there is nothing in that combat at its core that I always feel like it needs to be changed. I think that they just absolutely nailed it on the Rocksteady side. WB, when they did their interpretation of it on the Arkham Origins side of things, I think that they did a good enough job with it, and they didn't mess with the combat too much. So I think we're going to see flavors of it based on this article and the information that we've got so far. It sounds like it's going to be getting their own spin, their own take on it for WB, but you're going to have elements of it. They don't want it to be too foreign and too much of a pull away from what make the Arkham games so great. It seems like it's going to kind of coincide with it, if that makes sense. So there's one other line in this article that I really just want to highlight with you guys. Since the story progression is shared between all the characters, it almost makes sense that you don't have to level them up from scratch every time you want to switch. It also stays very coherent in terms of our narrative. Marty continues on to say that, quote, since the other members of the Batman family are always present in some way in the background, while you're out in the world fighting crime or unraveling the mystery, they don't stay inactive. So it makes sense that they are also progressing and getting stronger. This has me very interested because I like the idea that with an RPG element to this game, I don't have to go back and start leveling up Batgirl because I've been playing Nightwing for 10 hours. It sounds like as the story continues, and I hope that there's going to be kind of a post New Game Plus open world aspect to this that is not done. I can't imagine that they just ended with the story. There's nothing beyond that. But what would be really cool is that I am leveling up like Nightwing, and through the story campaign, as that's happening, my Batgirl is actually getting leveled up too as things progress, so we don't lose any of their strength, power. We feel like, why is Batgirl kind of more inferior in terms of playability and things that you've unlocked? This will get interesting if they are going to dabble into things like skill trees and the items to be able to unlock for each character as you play them. If I get Red Hood, am I going to have to go through a massive skill tree, or is it going to get kind of unlocked as I progress with another character is what I mean. If they are going to keep their progression and their strength and their attributes all going at the same time, I wonder if it's more of a universal one that they'll go with that can be applicable to all four characters, because you might be like me and figure, well, there's going to be one or two characters that you really want to main with, and you're going to stick with them. Maybe it's going to be, Red Hood and it's going to be Batgirl, and that's what you want to end up playing with. Then I wonder if Robin is going to end up being, built up as well as we go along. So enemies will scale their progression as well as the heroes, which is kind of cool. Now, when it comes to the co-op aspect, this is something that I am interested in. I presume you're gonna have couch co-op as well as multiplayer for online because you have 4 characters to play with. I wonder how that's gonna come into play, really, like how it actually will play, because you're gonna play as one character, and if you're playing co-op, are you going to be going down the same path? Are you going to be kind of tagging in and out? That's going to be pretty wild. So I would imagine then the world itself is going to have to be, like, they're really going to have to beef up Gotham in order to have all of these characters playing at one time if you are going to allow for that co-op aspect of it. Co-op itself, guys, doesn't have me totally interested. I am a solo player. I like to play by myself. It's Matt's time. It's his me time. And I like playing online for some games. But when it comes to something like Batman, I don't really have that itch to be, okay, I want to be Batman, or I want to be Batgirl, and then I want a buddy of mine to be Robin. I want to be able to kind of experience it myself, because I want to be able to kind of be able to have the control over being able to navigate through the story. It just depends how it's all built. I just hope that the polish is there and the game plays as tightly as it did in the Arkham games that we're used to, because I think that is the expectation that we have, is that this game is going to look and feel like an Arkham game. It's just going to have its own spin and everything on it, which is what WB is talking about in this article in Gamesradar. So I really do hope that it is paying homage to the previous games. I'm glad that they're doing their own unique story and they're doing their own unique take on it. I wonder what this will mean, though, when they are going to be focusing so co-op heavy. My concern is that it would alienate a sector of the audience that is looking for a single player, single person Batman game. And I wonder what this will mean when it actually translates to a larger audience, that for very, very casual gamers, guys, they don't get Batman in the game necessarily. but if they don't get Batman as a main character, do you wonder if, and do you think that maybe this will turn people away? I don't know. Let me know in the comments below. Do you think that having this narrative of multiple Gotham characters would be enough to kind of hold this story and hold this thread going forward? Or do you think that a more casual gamer, the kids that are getting the game from mom and dad, they see that there isn't Batman actually in the game? Do you think that's going to be a turnoff for some? Because if they don't follow comics and any of the lore, maybe they don't pick it up as quickly as they might. But if the game is there and the game is awesome, then I think people are just going to jump in regardless. I'm not going to jump in anyways. I'm too excited. I want to be able to have it. And I've also had way too much coffee today. Anyways, guys, let me know in the comments below. What do you think about Gotham Knights? Is this going to kind of scratch your itch for a Batman game for this year? Are you excited for it? Or do you have any concerns about being a co-op game and kind of the final polish that we're going to get whenever this game launches in 2021? It's up there for one of my most anticipated games of the year. I hope it is for you too. I want to hear about what some of your anticipated games are for this year. Let me know in the comments below. Guys, thank you so much for watching. If you can, support the show by giving it a thumbs up, give it a like. That thing is free. You do that anytime, any day, and check out more of our content. Thank you as always for watching. And as always, thank you guys for assembling with us. See ya.